Hey guys, it's your coach Asia Rivers, and welcome to Talk Childcare to Me. So today we are getting ready to go through the biz credit secrets for childcare success. And some of you guys may be in the group and may not necessarily be in childcare, but it will apply to all industries. The startup process is the same regardless. So it is about, let's see here, 7:58. So we've got roughly 2 minutes before I start the session. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, water, whatever you got. Hey, Kim. And hey, Rashawn. So just give it a few minutes. We've got, like I said, 2 minutes before we get ready to start up. Grab your book. If you've written on a notebook or something and got questions, go ahead and actually start putting that into the live so I can keep track, so I can answer some of those questions as well. Hey, Tarsha. So I'm going to sit and review what I've written down. And hopefully everybody has had a chance to at least read through the chapter 1, which isn't a heavy chapter 1, but it's got some hefty information in there. So again, I'm waiting on my, hey, Coach Erica. So we've got 60 seconds. So y'all get settled. And again, put your questions into the live so that way I can keep track and I can answer those. And go ahead, feel free to share. I don't know if there's a share button on you guys' live since we're in a private group, but feel free to share it. Maybe someone will connect with us this evening. All right, I am timely because guess what? At 8:30, we're shutting it down. So again, come with your questions so I can answer them. And we are getting ready to roll. So go ahead and send me a high five in the group if you've got your copy of Biz Credit Secrets. Yes, 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 yes. And so I also want to just make note, tell everybody that so I had 3 different orders of books that went to the United States Postal Services. They lost the second shipment, so I don't know whose book was in the second shipment, so I sent out books actually twice. So if you got an extra copy, share with a family friend, another childcare owner, someone, any entrepreneur, anyone. So if you got 2 of them, good for you. But I just had to send out books again. I got my money back from the United States Postal Services, but they really they apologize, put it like that. So yes, 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 throw your hand sign up if you got your book, and throw your hand sign up, guess what, if you've already read through chapter 1. And while I'm still waiting for some individuals to get in a group, I'll give you guys a snapshot of my day. So I have been practicing discipline at the news center. So on Monday, we had to push hard. I pushed hard on Mondays. It was hard, you guys, because I had to lock myself in my office, and I'll be daggone 2 hours into it. Guess who knocks on the door? The lovely state for my renewal visit. I am glad to say that we weren't prepared. We had a few minor deficiencies, but there's something that we will coach through and work on. With that big transition, is to be expected. So give myself a little slack to get it together. All right, so we're getting ready to jump right on in. So if you read the prelude, I just gave just an example of where I was at mentally when the whole idea of business credit began. So when we started out, I made the mistake of not being prepared and not having a business loan. A lot of people look down on having a business loan. The word loan, we often, kind of shy away from, and we're afraid of when we are starting a business. But it's a great idea to have some type of money on hand instead of paying for everything cash. And when I paid for everything cash, it didn't leave any kind of payment history or track record for my business. Gotcha, Rashawn. So that was a huge mistake. So when I got to the point where I needed to expand, or I needed furniture, or I really wanted to do something in my business, I didn't have any cash because I had already spent all of the free flowing cash that I had for, minor stuff inside the business. So once I came up with the idea of business credit and how it worked, it was a process. But I also had to work on myself. So I had stuff everywhere. I had student loans, I had credit cards, I had personal loans, I had stuff everywhere. And so before you actually enter into this routine and aspiring to be a business, any kind of business owner, then most definitely you have to work on yourself. This is a daily thing, not only mentally, spiritually, emotionally, but financially. You're going to have to be the living, breathing force for that business. Nobody can speak for the business except for you. And it's all about your credit score. It's how you've taken care of repaying debt yourself. So I had a question earlier today from someone. I think her name was Marsha, and she messaged me, and I told her, well, hey, you got to make sure no matter how bad you think your credit is, you have to work on it. There's plenty of methods, and that's covered in the first chapter as well. So if you don't know where to access, free access for your credit reports, go on freeannualcreditreport.com. You have access any given time. Normally I'm up at night pulling people's credit reports at 3 and 4 a.m. in the morning, just so they can get ahead and start their business. The process is called the 609 process. You are able to challenge each item on your personal credit report, and you have access to the free credit report every 12 months. So if I logged on today and went on the website, I would pull directly from Experience, TransUnion, and Equifax, and I would start the process. And most people don't know this is an ongoing thing. Every time that I get prepared to make a big purchase, like a car or a home, a new center, anything that's going to pull my credit, I go through this process beforehand. So planning is another part of that as well. So if you don't plan for the things that you want, then you plan on failing. That's in book number 1, Planning for Success. So plan first, and then you'll get success. Most definitely. So just stay on track with that. The 609 process is normally a 3-month process. It takes about 30 days, and it's been taking less than 30 days to dispute any kind of items on your credit report now. So they are they're working very fast. So make sure you send a copy of your driver's license and social security card and a certified letter somewhere you have tracking and proof to say, okay, I sent this letter. I want to challenge whatever's on my credit report. That goes all the way down to your inquiries. In the first chapter, I went over it briefly about their inquiries. Anytime that I was trying to prepare for any kind of business funding, I had so many inquiries of where a lender would actually run my credit several times through all of these banks, and it just totally demolished my credit. That's that I think it's about 10 to 15% the makeup, the inquiries that's on your credit report. And so I had like over 30 inquiries in less than 12 months. And so, it hurts your credit score. So just be on the lookout for some of those things. Now, once you get your credit together, and throughout this process, you can also start building business credit if you are established. So established meaning that you have your articles of organization, and that can be found at the Secretary of State, filed. Any changes that need to happen, that happens on that state level. So currently, Rivers Educational Center, which is my named business, it is owned by Rivers Educational Center, LLC, which is a limited liability company. It oversees what the business operations, and I am the single member. I rule all over that LLC. So those of you who are a sole proprietor, you have to go back and get reestablished. That has been the common question that has been posed to me. Can I build business credit and I'm not established? Well, if you have a tax ID number, theoretically you can, but anytime you go to apply for business credit, you won't be able to get any kind of business credit underneath that tax ID number because you are a sole proprietor, and so your social security number actually depletes all of that, and so you have to apply with your social, and that's not what we're trying to do. We want to get credit with our tax ID number only, and it's possible. So the next thing, so once you get established, you're able to go on Quill. So in the book, I had started with Sprint. So I actually kind of worked backwards because I was already operating business. I was already established. I just didn't know where to look to apply for business credit. So I had the right idea. Most of us as childcare owners, I've seen multiple childcare owners that they'll go into meetings and they've got they got 2 and 3 cell phones. And I'm like, why are you wasting money paying 2 and 3 cell phone bills? It just didn't make sense to me. You've got free resources like Google Voice. I love my Google Voice. It answers. It's completely free. It is a internet cell phone number. You can cut it on and off whenever you want to, and you only have one cell phone. And so, but the thing about it was with us, I had to figure out how to create business credit inside of my business. So I was with Sprint, and so there were other family members in my family which I needed to reach out to. So the thing with Sprint was I had to have 5 different lines in order to qualify for that Sprint business plan. And the business plan actually reports to your business credit bureau. And it was an easy transition. Sprint, however, just wasn't for me because, of course, if you guys have Sprint, you know that you can't be on the phone and surf the internet at the same time. That's my pet peeve. I can't do it because most of the time I'm on hold and I'm surfing or paying bills or something all at the same time. So, if it's for you, it's for you. Verizon has the same thing. Verizon is a little bit expensive. I have it. So just whatever floats your boat. I haven't had any experience with T-Mobile and their business plans, but from what I've heard, they're all prepaid. So just do your research. Of course, if you don't have a Dun & Bradstreet number already, then you won't be able to get access to those business accounts. So they are looking at you as a living, operating business at that point. So you have to make sure that you have your Dun & Bradstreet number. So those of you who don't know what Dun & Bradstreet is, it's the agency that monitors trade accounts for businesses. And so it's on the 10-step strategy guide. I actually put the 10-step strategy guide right in my book. And you go to the website. If you're already operating business, 9 times out of 10, you already have a Dun & Bradstreet number. You just don't know it. The thing about it is you have to go back, make sure all the information is correct, make sure that the owners that's on the Dun & Bradstreet report is correct. And you can do that on Dun & Bradstreet's website. It is a free service to update your credit profile, but be wary about what you're updating because it is public information and anybody can see that. Just make sure the information is displayed correctly. So once I had Sprint, I also started with Quill. Now, a lot of you guys may be familiar with Quill. Quill is another service that they will start up, give you business credit. Most of the time, if you're a new business, they'll give you $100. So that's your spending limit. So you order $100 worth of stuff, you have to pay on the invoice within 30 days. Since you're a new account, they might take between 30 to 60 days to report that first account to Dun & Bradstreet. But after that, they report every 30 days. Go ahead, Rashawn. Yes, the 10-step strategy. Yes. So with Quill, I just recommend, you order simple stuff. They've got, and their stuff is in bulk. So you may be a smaller business. You may be an in-home childcare center. That's all right. You can give it away. Donate it to different other businesses. Give it to family and friends. Use it in your own household. It's up to you. The whole purpose of that $100, look at it as an investment to your future. It's just a small seed that you have to plant. So, some people may be worried of wasting stuff, but you're not wasting anything. Most of the stuff that you order off of there, you can order scissors, you can order glue. It has plenty of childcare equipment as well, too. I know that I've ordered several signs for my daycare. So when I was doing some of my insurance, getting ready for my insurance audit, meaning that they came out and did a physical inspection of the building to make sure how we were conducting business inside the child care center. So I had warning signs up, saying watch your step. I had different labels all around the center, just petty stuff. But guess what? It helped me open up, over $100,000 worth of credit, available to my business that I'm able to use anytime that I need to. So with Quill, it's a wonderful resource. Uline is the same way. So some of you that aren't directly in the childcare industry or has another business alongside of the childcare industry, you can take advantage of Uline. Uline is majority of other industries like manufacturing, warehousing, things of that nature. They have postal bags. They have these big garbage cans. They have pretty much anything related to packaging. They have on hand and ready for you. They even have like the kitchen aprons. Some of you guys may have a heat press. You can heat press your logo for your childcare center on those aprons. Again, it's the same thing. You order today, you pay back the invoice in less than 30 days, and then you repeat the process. The more that you repeat the process, the more payment history you have with that company. So those are the 3 that I gave in the book. Of course, if you want more, feel free to purchase the Biz Credit Directory. I'll have some specials going on with that, and that gives a list of 30 different suppliers and retailers that you can access credit today in order to build up your business credit profile. And for the first run, in order to generate a score under Dun & Bradstreet, and which is called a paydex score, you have to at least have 4 to 6 reporting accounts. And so you start there. So also in the book on page, let's see here, page 17. So this spreadsheet at the bottom. So I'll put it up there on page 17. So those of you guys who don't have the book just yet, and I apologize. But it has a spreadsheet. You want to start tracking. So regardless if you're a new business, if you are in the process, or if you're in cleanup mode, you need to list all accounts that you pay and that has any kind of net terms or it's not well, you can be a paid in full account too, but every account that you pay out, you need to list that. And then you also need to keep track who's reporting to what agency. I often reference Dun & Bradstreet or DMB the most because whenever someone's pulling your business credit, they often look at your DMB score or the paydex score to see whether or not you're worthy to have business any kind of line of credit. I also listed Equifax Small Business. Equifax Small Business isn't that bad. Normally, what you see reported on Equifax is credit cards and loans, anything that is like cash, any cash to cash transactions. Those are the accounts that's typically on Equifax and Experian, actually. Dun & Bradstreet is the heavy trade payments. Sometimes you may see a credit card, sometimes you might, but it's far few in between with them. Equifax, I know the service in order to pull that report is relatively small. Though that fee is about $20, and so is Experian to have some monthly monitoring, and then also it'll tell you exactly who's reporting if your scores increased or decline. Those are relatively small. Dun and Bradstreet is the one that's like $1,500 in order to get your report and, you know, make any changes. And that's where I come in. That's why I assist with the Dun and Bradstreet Paydex and credit profile building. So make sure you rank your transactions. Under DMB, I put a plus sign. So of course, Sprint Service, they were a net 30 account. So every time they billed me and told me to pay on the 28th, I had to pay on the 28th. Actually, before on the 27th. Most of the creditors, if you pay on the day of, it won't post to your account until the day after, and they will count that as a slow payment. You don't really want too many slow payments because it will drop your score. Your Paydex score is based on a scale of 1 to 100. So think of grade school. So 100 was an A, like you were good, you passed. There was nothing to it. You with flying colors. A B is an 80, and this is where most lenders look at to see whether or not you're going to be approved or denied. They want an 80 Paydex score. A 70, not so much. Anything underneath the 70, you have to have a personal guarantor. So be wary of that, and know that information before you even apply for any kind of business credit funding. Quill is a net 30. They don't report to Equifax and Experian. Oh, well, they don't report to Equifax, but they do report to Experian. So I've put a plus sign underneath Experian. Equifax, I had a negative sign, and then DMB, I had plus, but I also put in parentheses that it was a net 30 account. Well, some of these accounts may not be a net 30, but it's your job to make sure to find out what your billing terms are. And you may get this big packet of information in the mail whenever you apply for a business credit account. And they're like, here's your card, or here's your money, here's your loan, here's the terms and conditions. But they don't really necessarily expand on the payment end. So it's your job to get on the phone and make sure you know all of the information before you actually start taking advantage of the account. Let's see here. So more about my experience with Quill. Like I said, I ordered printer paper, construction paper, and I had tons and tons of stuff. But again, my $100 multiplied to $100,000. So you got to figure out what's best for you and your business and where you want to go. So you have to be clear exactly what you're after. If you're after a bigger building, it's going to call for a different plan of action. If you're after a fleet of vans, then that's a different, that's a different pace. So just make sure to reach out to me so we can, kind of confer back and forth to see what's your best plan of action to get where you're trying to be. Most of the time, guys, I'm not going to say I'm free. I'm not even going to lie, because my life is hectic. I'm busy. I'm very busy. But message me on Facebook. Send me an email. In a group, you can pose a question. So, there's lots of people that's doing the same thing. A lot of people that are trying to get started. A lot of people are trying to get started. They're trying to figure out, do I go left? Do I go right? How do I advance through this? But I will tell you guys this. After being in business for 5 years, there was a lot of things that I had to reflect on. One of those, most importantly, was not to move too fast. And what I mean by moving too fast is getting your credit together, personal and business, but not making sure the rest of your stuff is a plan of success, put it like that. And someone once told me, Asia, you're going through growing pains in your business. And I'm like, this is growing pains. I'm hungry. I'm tired. I'm sleepy. Like, am I supposed to be like, is this what a business is supposed to be every day? Like, it was insane. Like, but there's a smarter way to go about what you're trying to do. There really is. And business credit isn't something that we're talking about. People inquire about it all the time, but it's just not something that's taught. The first time that I ever came in contact with it, I paid $2,500 for someone to do basically nothing. And I mean, basically do nothing. And, it was a waste of money, but I took it as, you know what? I'm going to turn it into a positive into my life and, set other people on the track of success. I didn't get what I was thinking I was going to get in the end. And so I've been in your shoes, and I know exactly where what you're trying to do. Some of you guys want to build the actual childcare building. Some want to do a fleet of vans or transportation vehicles. Some just want to have a significant amount of cash flow in their business and not feel like, okay, I'm at the mercy of the state or the federal government. So, there's a lot that plays into this. Dun & Bradstreet is used to approve your center for the federal contract for the food program. So, if you don't have if you have anything, I will say this for the federal food program, if you have something negative on that, 9 times out of 10, you won't be approved for the federal food program. So just a word to the wise, and I'll go into detail later when we have our, the last session over the last unit about repairing your business credit. So in retrospect, you gotta stay focused and have a clear mind when building business credit, because it's gonna be some days where you feel like you've taken out too many invoices, and that's a trick as well too, knowing what works for your business. So if you're gonna use one account for this month, then stick to that one account so you'll know exactly what you need to pay next month. If you're preparing for some type of transition, it's better to do it in small bits with the net 30 accounts, because essentially your creditors could break you if you have too much money going out. So we really haven't talked about balance sheets and cash flows, but that ties into the business credit aspect. And for lack of better words, the childcare industry as a whole, we are rated at about between an 80 and 85 paydex score, which is our industry rating risk as well. So we tend to be more risky borrowers. So some lenders will not borrow to us, and I will go into detail with on our next visit, because I go into detail about that in the book, and that is very important and something that you should keep in mind, because sometimes you can have a 90 or 100 paydex score, and you can have perfect personal credit, but because of the industry that we are in, and we have high turnover, and accounts receivables is they're outstanding. Our industry as a whole, that people just don't like to lend to us. So it is up to us as an industry to come together to make the change and make it worth our while. And the only way that we can do that is by uplifting each other and educating one another on this next level. This is another level. And we can say we're very good childcare owners. We take care of our childcare operations, but the childcare business side is something that a lot of childcare owners lack. Unless you have a business degree, or you've taken business courses like financial accounting and stuff, you really are kind of clueless about what goes on behind the scenes. We give our money over to other individuals, and we trust that they are going to do the right thing, and sometimes they're not doing the right thing at all. So what I'm trying to do is teach you how to actually be a CEO and take charge of your business. We got to make it happen, and you got to know exactly what's going on. And in order to do that, you've got to have the knowledge. you know, to know if someone's doing the job that they are supposed to be doing. I've had tons of bookkeepers. I've had tons of so-called CPAs, but really wasn't certified. I've had contractors that said, you know, I'm certified, or I got my paperwork on this, but when it comes to the bottom line, they don't got jack. So like I said, I'm trying to do is teach you to be a CEO and be financially sound and know exactly what you're talking about and what you have access to. You know, we run these businesses and we don't know what we have access to. We don't know the value in that. All we see is, you know, furnitures and chairs, and then our accounts receivables, or, you know, and we're anticipating payment from the state. We've got more than that. You've got more than that because you have a business. You have a strong business, but it's up to us to sell that business to the rest of the businesses in the rest of the world, and let them know, guess what? We are empowered. We know exactly what we're talking about, and we're going to stronghead this industry. There's no more walking away. There's no more excuses, because we're getting the knowledge. You're taking initiative and you're doing what you need to do to get where you're trying to be at. So no more struggling in 2019. We're going to make it happen. We're going to become a boss. And in my shirt, what they say? Bossaholic. I'm a bossaholic about every single thing I do. Every single thing I do. I don't have no shade going behind it whatsoever. I love what I do, but I have to make sure that everything is sound all around. You know, I'm a great director, but I will admit I was a sucky business person 2 years ago. I did not know where I was going and what I was doing, but only with great practice and discipline was I able to deliver business credit secrets. So that's my spiel, everyone. Yes, Kimberly Bossaholic. Yes. So if anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and chime in now. I can go ahead and answer some of those for you guys. If you got a comment or you got something that you want me to answer on the next the next live, and I think I'm going to go ahead and put that for Thursday, so I can cover some of those industry rating risks and go over that with you guys. Hey Aisha, you can purchase the book from me. I can have it out to you within between 2 to 3 days. I'm just going to order and send it directly to you, so it comes right to your doorstep. If you and if anybody's on this live that doesn't have the book, just message me. I can set up something. You can send it to me Cash App. So it's of course the $ Biz Credit Bay, and we can get it started, so that way I can get you your book. And then the next thing that I'm working on, you guys, I'm actually working on a workbook, and then it's got folders for your financial information and stuff, so you can keep up with that, and it's readily available. One thing I've got a problem with is being organized when it comes to all of my business records. I've seen some of my downfalls, you know, when I made the transition. So I'm like, why not create something that I can use in my own business? And I know that it works because I'm constantly going back through emails and looking for federal documents, Secretary of State documents, and you know, it's absolutely nuts. So I know I'm not the only one. Okay, so let me see here. Dorothy has a question. Trying to purchase a property. Is business credit the way to go? So, Dorothy, depends on what you have readily available to you. So if you're in home, you probably don't have a lot of cash and a lot of clientele. If you're in a center and you're trying to expand, I would make sure that my business credit and stuff is sound. It can be done within 30 to 90 days. I'm a witness to that. So depending on what kind of funding you want, some property owners, I know with ours, we had a owner finance agreement, so that means I put down a hefty down payment, and then afterwards, over the course of 2 years, we just paid into that. After 2 years, the property is ours, free and clear. We also got a discount. The property itself was valued at about $175,000. We bought the property for $100,000, and we put down a down payment of $20,000. So those different types of deal. Every property owner is different. So you have to do something that appeals to them. I had a question earlier today about somewhat about the same thing. The property owner didn't know whether or not they wanted to sell the property or not. The owner's already currently inside of the business. So depending on how long you've been inside of that building, you have certain rights as a business owner. And some of us, it may come down to suing the property owner if they just want to sell the building. But oftentimes we're not prepared. We just rather move out and just cut our losses. We're not ready to fight. So where do you go? The thing about that is make sure to stay prepared. So if you're at a point where within the next 6 months you're just looking, in the next 6 months, I would wholeheartedly just kind of pull some of those records around from my area and see what different people are looking for. If they want cold hard cash for those properties, then and we're talking about over $100,000. The property is worth over $100,000. You most definitely probably should consult a bank. There are some banks that work with SBA funding. SBA funding will pull your Dun & Bradstreet record. They will also pull your personal credit score as well. At worst case scenario, you have to have a credit score of about 680. You can't have anything on your business credit stuff. You have to make sure that you filed the last 2 years of your taxes on the business as well, in order to get some kind of commercial real estate, and they will put a lien against the property. That's where that excuse me, where that difference comes from. So you might not have a very high score. 680 is probably about as high as it will go. Worst case scenario, and then they will make the numbers work. If you have the credit history and in the business track record of your paying your bills on time, you don't have any liens or anything with taxes being owed, then most likely you're going to get that loan. One of my banks here, it's called Fifth Third Bank. I have a business banker. She talks to us all the time about that, but they will make the numbers work for you. So Dorothy, probably in detail, get with me so we can kind of chat about exactly where you're at in the process, so we can determine a plan of action for you and get that time frame narrowed down, so you'll have everything ready to go. And you got your binder and be like, look, talk business to me, talk money. Let's see here. It just says, how do you establish a business credit and separate it from personal credit? So with personal credit, it's up underneath your Social Security card. I mean, not Social Security card, Social Security number. Business credit is going to be up underneath your tax ID number. In the first chapter, I do go into detail about getting established in your business. So getting established meaning that you have your business name. You have your federal tax ID number that's associated with that business name. And then from there, you can apply for your Dun & Bradstreet number. And then we can apply for the accounts like Quill and Sprint and Uline. And then that's how you separate. But again, whenever you're applying for any kind of not monetary, but cash, so like loans and credit cards, things of that nature, they will always pull your personal credit score. Most of the time, you can ask on the front end if it's going to be a soft pull or a hard pull. A hard pull is going to hurt your credit. A soft pull, not so much. But some lenders will say, hey, we're doing a soft pull, but it shows as a hard pull anyway. So just kind of be wary. Make sure your credit monitoring stuff is in place, like Credit Karma, Credit Sesame. There's plenty of free apps and whatnot. I just became very vigilant about keeping track of my personal credit. I had every kind of tracker you could name because I was serious about expanding my business and which way I wanted to go. Let's see here. I have a question from Miss Mason. She says, I know that this is geared towards childcare, but if someone was interested in having a small venture that's not related to childcare, feel even fixable, are these books beneficial? Most definitely they are beneficial. So what I tell you in my book can be applied to about any industry, but it is specified for childcare. So the way that I specify for childcare is that I'm using examples and my own personal experience because that's the childcare industry that I'm in. So if you switch industries, maybe to like accounting or consulting, a consulting business or an apparel business, your industry rating risk is going to be quite different from a childcare owner. I don't know about the industry rating risk compared to a like apparel, but I can say when I started Talk Childcare to me, the recommended credit rating starting off was about $7,500. So if I walked in a bank today and applied with my business credit, they were recommending that they give me no more than about a $7,500 loan. Now, when I started Rivers Educational Center as a childcare preschool, that recommended credit rating was only $500. So that is quite a significant difference. Again, the same practices that I put into play to build business credit, it can be applied to any industry. But again, my personal experience is only set on childcare. But if you have a family or friend, someone who still wants to, the interpretation is still the same. The way that you read the different codes and the rejections is still going to be the same. So, like I said, this is the industry that I'm working in, is childcare. I can give you more bang for your buck through childcare, but it can be applied to any industry. Good question. Anybody got anything else for me before I start to shut it down? Because we're about 10 minutes out. And since I guess I'm getting ready to shut it down, talk to you guys about what's coming up for the new year. So I am in the midst of choosing a date that I'm going to be hosting here in Louisville, Kentucky, meaning that you can come out. You can. We're gonna have a speaking session. We're going to have entrees and stuff like that. I am choosing a date, hopefully in August, in order to set that up. So you guys, it's going to be a tour stop, and we're going to have some other speakers as well. So just keep up with that. And then also, we are going to start the podcast back up. So it's going to be a live podcast. So I am going to be committed to that. I am about done with the Maintaining Your Success book, which should be out by no later than February 10th. So I am finishing up editing that book, and I will tell you, maintaining your success is not for the faint-hearted. It is some of my worst challenges when starting my business. It was really feast or famine, and majority of the time it was famine. So it was like, how are you able to turn nothing, and I mean nothing, into something? And the hardships that I go through, even some of the situations with staffing, and I will give you guys even an example. Last year I had a staff member that came in. Her character, she was cool as could be, she participated, she came and she did her job. Everything ideally what we want at I'm going to say a B level staff member, not an A, but a B rated staff member. But looks can be deceiving. After a while, next thing I know, I had the Attorney General office knocking on my front door because the staff member actually had taken part in sex trafficking. So, like I said, these are some behind the scenes stories that I really want to share with the world, that, childcare owners, what we're going through in our industry and what we're facing, being stuck, from sun up to sundown. We wake up extra early just to be at our business and give attention and focus on everything in it. But, other people they're coming in, they don't have the same mindset, and their heart isn't in the right place as ours. It's not to, expose anyone. I will not, reveal anybody's name or anything like that. But at the same time, how do you protect yourself as the business owner? How do you deal with that situation? The state doesn't tell you exactly how to deal with that situation. There may be some some of you guys that's on here that has been bashed on social media. I have had my share of tea as well too. And so it's like, how do you come back from those different situations? So maintaining your success will be available. I'll be putting the links up here pretty soon for you guys to pre-order Maintaining Your Success. If you haven't, you guys that are in my coaching program, you already have the books on order, so you're good to go. And there's a few of you that ordered the book bundle already at the conference. You're good to go as well. So those of you, just stay on the lookout for that. And of course, the last edition, I'm writing that, as we're going through the year and rebuilding, and that's going to be more of I'm the cleanup woman and the last edition, but I'm also the CEO coming out on top on the third book. So stay tuned for that. And then the podcasts are going to be about real life situations, things that are going on inside the childcare industry, how to stay relevant and in tune to what's going on. And so I've got 2 questions left. Let's see here. I've got Savannah. She says, when going from a home daycare S Corp to build a new childcare center, is it wise to stay with the same home childcare business name that is known and is established as a C Corp entity? Or since the banks looked at this as a new startup because of a size comparison, start a new S Corp? So, Savannah, you've got a few things that's going on with S Corp. So, as an in-home daycare, I would be kind of questioning why you have already established yourself as an S Corp. From the knowledge that I've gotten from my CPA, you have to be operating at an S Corp at a certain level in order for an S Corp, and it may not be beneficial for you to be at an S Corp, being taxed as an S Corp. So I would question that. That would be the first thing that I would question. But however, if you're going to move and you're going to go to a new childcare center, and you know that your capacity is going to be quite large, you might as well just stay in S Corp. But again, just kind of be wary about how you're handling your tax situation as well too. Again, you have to operate at a certain level. It's the same thing with nonprofits as well. You most definitely don't want to pay out any money that you don't have to. I would encourage you to keep as much to yourself as possible. Because this industry is hard. But, everybody's situation is different. But that would be a question for your CPA to question about the taxes first. But if you decide to stay with the one that's already established and booming, I would, especially if it's got a positive reputation, I would just carry it along with me. But again, know that all of your history that's associated with your S Corp and tax ID number is going to carry over with you. So I would definitely start with pulling my different credit profiles to see, where my business is actually at. Are we good to go, or should we just start over fresh and brand new? Let's see here. So, Dorothy, yes. So, we are selling the shirts. My husband, William Rivers, he makes all of our shirts. I've got some that says Hustle Harder. I got some that says Run Your Business and Not Your Mouth. That's my shirt. I love it. But Bossalicious, yes. So, we have that available as well. They are made out of Bella canvas, and it feels so good. It's so soft. I love it. If you've got big arms like me, you want to order a size up. So typically I wear a 2X. I had to order a 3X because my arms is kind of big. Other than that, I love these shirts. You can wash it and they're still soft and for you to put back on. Let's see here. So if you want to order some shirts, just message me and we can get you the Cash App information, and we can send you out a Bossaholic shirt. We got some more coming out as well, and I'll be wearing those as well, and you'll see some different models. And so we're actually starting a movement. Some of you all that had your husband is involved as well. My husband will, he's got Bossman University. We need our husbands right alongside, along with us. You guys that aren't married, that's fine too. Your boyfriend, there's some that it's a sibling thing. It's with your brothers or your cousins, someone who else is supporting you. The role of a man inside of a business is important. I talked about that through one of my lives. Actually, it's in the maintaining your success. There are doors most definitely that men can get through that women can't necessarily get through, and it's always good to have a man somewhere that's going to be representative of your business, because it just is what it is. But no, just because they getting in, don't think that I ain't behind that at all. So I'm somewhere. Hey, Drea, it says bossaholic. And then I've got some that says hustle harder and run your business and not your mouth. So that's just my attitude coming out. So if anybody else has any questions, feel free to message me. I'm on Facebook. If I don't get back with you, I'll get back with you the next day. If you want to order the book, feel free to message me so I can get the payment from Cash App. And until then, go ahead and start reading chapter 2, which is the producer, meaning that we doing this thing. We're actually maintaining. We getting these orders in and out. We're paying on time. So therefore, we can get the business credit rolling. And I'm going to, on that live, actually pull up my credit profile so you can actually see that it can get quite extensive. I have access to pull other companies as well, and you'd be surprised. Big corporations like Walmart and Target, they ain't so good. They ain't so well off. So I'll teach you the right strings to pull. So you guys have a great night, and I will follow up with you on Thursday. Read chapter 2, the producer. The shirts and stuff are for sale. The book is for sale. Feel free to reach out to me. I have a good one. Thanks for hanging with your coach tonight.